92.7 FM. Clutch with Keon Rose. And we need to talk about the Atlanta Braves. They're bad. They're a bad baseball team. They are a very bad baseball team. And I never at any one point in the preseason of this whole thing imagined that the Braves would be this bad of a baseball team. Now, to be clear, at no point did I ever imagine the Braves as good, but I never imagined them as awful. You know what I mean? I never imagined the Braves as the worst baseball team in the majors, which they are. They have the worst record in the majors. 20% of the season is in the books, right? We are 1/5 of the way there, and the Braves are 9 games below 500. So, like, if we just extrapolate this for the other 80% of the season, we're looking at possibly another historically bad season for the Atlanta Braves. And I thought that we had a 500 team here. I never thought the Braves were going to challenge for the division because, come on, man, the Nationals are great. I never thought that the Braves were going to be, one of the top teams in the major leagues, but certainly I never imagined that they were going to be as bad as they wound up being. They wound up being horrible. Like, the Braves are not just kind of bad. Like, this is historical levels of absolutely terrible. And you almost wonder, like, where's the problem, right? Because, like, there's problems offensively, there's problems with pitching. It's absolutely a pitching problem. It's a pitching problem. The offense is not that bad. Like, the Braves are, like, in the 20s. In most offensive stats, they're in the 20s. Right? So, like, you have the Braves sort of going along and being this kind of baseball team that they don't score a ton. They're not the worst offensive team, but man, they cannot pitch. Julio Teheran, something's flipped with this guy. He's not as good as he once looked like he was going to be. Like, there was a promise of Julio Teheran being a much better baseball player than what he has actually turned out to be. And it's funny because I listened to the Atlanta Braves baseball podcast, and they were making a fantastic point about Julio Teheran, where he just has these hilarious splits. I mean, maybe not hilarious if you're a Braves fan, but like they're insane. Like, they're absolutely ridiculous splits where he gives up 8 runs. His ERA is an 8 at home. And then on the road, it's a sub-1 ERA, and he hasn't given up any homers. I mean, that's crazy to me. That blows my mind when you consider the fact that, like, this guy has absolutely been, without the shadow of a doubt, atrocious at home. And it's weird. A team moving into a new ballpark, right? You should be more energized at home. And if you're not better at home, 8 is a really, really bad number. Like, what do you do with him? Do you just pitch him on the road now? Like, you just never pitch Julio at home because, like, you just don't know what you're getting there? Because that's crazy. That's crazy. To be able to pitch sub-1 and then at home you give up 8 runs? Dude, what is happening with you? So you have that. R.A. Dickey, his ERA is 4.22 when last I checked. And so, like, that's, to me, like, that's what you thought you were going to get from him. He's going to give up 4 or 5 runs a game. I thought the Braves offense would be good enough that at least on some nights, you can overcome 4 or 5 runs and win the game. But you don't have that with this Braves team. Yes, they have struggled offensively. They struggled a lot. I just did not see a team with a deficit this big. They are, a bunch of games back from the Nationals. They're 9 games under 500. I mean, this is one of those things where, like, a 500 team was the best that anybody thought you could do. Like, the Braves are obviously a team in rebuilding, but the catch here is when it comes to the pitching. When all of those 1-year deals, you bring in Dickey, you bring in Bartolo Colon. I mean, you have all of these 1-year deals, and the whole thing was to have a bunch of guys that can sort of bridge the gap until you get somebody really great, right? Like, bridge the gap until we can get some really consistent pitching that we don't mind signing to long-term deals. Do that. And instead, what we got was, I don't know what we got. We got Bartolo Colon, who is horrible right now, absolutely horrible. Right? He's given up like 7-8 runs a game as well. And again, you can't win baseball games that way. Okay, pitching wins championships in baseball, but also pitching gets you to 500. Pitching at least gets you to 500. You know. That's, to me, pitching at least can get you to 500 if you've got solid to average pitching. So this is something that is absolutely blown up in Atlanta's faces. I don't know how you rectify that particular situation. And then offensively, you don't hit well enough to counter how bad the pitching has been. Like, we're just really in for a long season. Like, this is only 1/5 of the way, right? And I understand that there's going to be peaks and lows, because last year, the offense for Atlanta just exploded, right? Like, they were hitting really well coming down the stretch of last season, to the point where you're like, okay, there is a way that we can fast track the development of this team if they're going to be hitting like that. And they haven't hit like that since. Honestly, like, they haven't hit like that since. I don't know what you do if you're the Atlanta Braves right now with that. We're just going to have to kind of sit with it and just, like, watch really bad baseball. Because it's not getting better than this. Like, this is just not. The plan just kind of blew up in everybody's face. Like, yeah, let's sign these old guys to 1-year deals, and the old guys are going to hang in there. Granted, I don't know what gave anybody the impression that Bartolo Colon was going to come in and be, like, great. Like, I thought, okay, he'd come in, and if he gives it up like 5-6 runs a game, then, like, that's actually as good as you're going to get out of Bartolo Colon. But he's the oldest guy in the majors. Bartolo Colon is 44 years old. Bartolo Colon played baseball with Methuselah. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to why anybody thought, like, this was going to be fantastic. He's getting older. People do not get better at baseball the further they get into their 40s. That's never happened. It's incredible, the thought process there. But I thought Bartolo Colon was like, we were just bringing him in to be like a fan favorite. Like, people just like Bartolo Colon. He is a really fun guy. He seems really cool. He looks like the human version of Garfield the cat. So there's that too. I mean, Bartolo Colon is just generally a fan favorite. But, like, under no expectation did I have that Bartolo Colon was going to be a guy that could really hold down the fort pitching wise. But he's been even more horrendous than I thought that he could be. And I thought he was going to be kind of bad. And then you get R.A. Dickey. R.A. Dickey's giving you exactly what you thought he was going to give you. I mean, he has not exceeded expectations in any way. So it is a combination of the offense and the pitching letting you down. But, like, the pitching didn't just let you down, kind of. The pitching let you down, like, all the way down. All the way down. It's incredible. And another point that those guys made, which I really enjoy their podcast, but, like, another point that they made is Julio Teheran. If he's your number one pitcher, like, your pitching rotation is in trouble. Your pitching rotation is in trouble. Which, that's true in every sport, right? Like, there's always going to be the one guy on the team where if he's your best guy, you have problems. Like, it's not that he's bad. He's not bad. He just can't be the best you have. Okay? And I'll give you a fantastical NBA example, because I'm filled with NBA examples. But you know, for like a guy like Robert Horry was really, really good. great as a role player on those Lakers teams, great as a role player with those Spurs teams. He could always seem to make big shots whenever it counted. Robert Horry's a really good player, but you don't want Robert Horry to be the best player on your team. If Robert Horry is the best player on your team, I have really bad news for you. You have a horrible team. Your team ain't good. Julio Teheran is that. He's a guy. He's not your ace. If he's your ace, your rotation's bad. And that's exactly what we're seeing in Atlanta. He's the best pitcher on the team, and he ain't good. And the thing is, the way that he is being bad and the way that he is being terrible, he is so incredibly streaky and inconsistent. You don't know if you're going to get a guy that's pitching at an elite level or not from game to game. All you know is if you're pitching Julio Teheran at home, he's going to give up. And this is just my scientific calculations here. By my count, 1 billion runs. Just all of them. Just a parade of runs. That's what it feels like he's always giving up. And it's insane. It's absolutely insane. Clutch with Keon Rose and AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. So tonight is one of my favorite sporting events, one of my favorite non-sport sporting events. Tonight is the NBA Draft Lottery. The NBA Draft Lottery is, to me, the coolest sporting event, non-sport sporting event outside of the NFL draft, right? Which is something that you also realize when you get to be older in life. Your favorite events are the Super Bowl, March Madness. And I still like the Super Bowl and March Madness. March Madness is probably my favorite sporting event just in totality. But you gain a stronger appreciation for the drafts as you get older, and you start to see the whole picture of how your team got created. You don't just show up in the fall and find what happened over summer is what happened over summer. Like, you get involved and you look and you see the draft, so you understand the young guys are coming in. You see the talent, teams that are trading picks and what have you. The NBA Draft Lottery is the sort of socialism of the NBA. It's how you both the worst teams get the best picks, but then they've added the lottery so that you don't just lose on purpose and try and have the worst record so you can get the best pick. By adding the lottery, it's random. You have a higher percentage of getting the best pick, but it's not guaranteed, so you might as well play anyway, which hasn't stopped teams from tanking even slightly, but that's a story for another day. The storyline of the day with the NBA draft is the Lakers, because the Lakers have played this sort of high-stakes game of chicken that they started playing ages ago. The Lakers started by essentially sacrificing all of their future draft picks for present championships, which I don't blame them for, because back then it made sense. And by the way, it resulted in championships. The draft picks of the future that they traded away got them Pau Gasol, which was a key factor in them winning an NBA title and going to another one that they lost that went to a game 7, by the way, that could have easily gone the other way. I mean, I wouldn't say easily gone the other way, but that series could have easily gone the other way if Kobe didn't come out and shoot like 6 for 25 or whatever it was that he did. What I'm saying is, essentially, they sacrificed all those future picks for the championships, and now they're a bad basketball team again, and they're basically looking at the determination of the bounce of ping pong balls deciding their picks. Because if the Lakers get a top 3 pick, they get to keep it. That's how the NBA trades work sometimes. When you trade a draft pick, it's protected. If it's a lottery pick, then even though you traded it away, you get to keep it. But if you don't get in the lottery, then you give the pick up to whoever it was that you traded it to. And teams like those odds. They really, really like those odds. So the Lakers are here kind of waiting for a few bounces of a ping pong ball to essentially decide their fate. And their fate could be anywhere from Lonzo Ball, if they are in the top 3, to not having a draft pick at all. And not just for this year, for next year too. Like, they have the most to gain and absolutely the most to lose. And that's why they're the most interesting storyline. Like, for once, they're not just an interesting storyline because they're Los Angeles. They're an interesting storyline because in terms of risk reward, in terms of most to gain, most to lose, it's them. And it's them by such a large margin because they don't just lose this year's pick. They lose next year's first round pick if they don't get the draft lottery. And like nothing really controls that. And also like they have a 43% chance of being a lottery pick. And so here it comes, right? Like all the conspiracy theorists are working their way out of the woodwork. Like there's no way the NBA would allow a team in such a gigantic market to be bad for this long. And if you do not allow this team to win the draft lottery, they will very much be this bad for this long. They don't have good players. They have young guys. They have guys who might end up being all-stars in the NBA. I like a lot of those guys. I like Ingram for them. I like what's my man's name out of Kentucky? Julius Randle. I like him for them. But man, I do not like where the Lakers are going to be if these are the only guys that they have to rely on in this squad moving forward. Like none of these guys have showed any particular propensity to play as a team. A lot of them, like it just looks like, hey, I'm going to go out there and get mine. You just keep drafting young guys and drafting young guys and drafting young guys, which is fine. But at some point, you're going to need to get a veteran in there. An older guy who can show you how it's done, show you how to win, show you how to be a professional in the NBA if at some point you want to win. Instead, the Lakers' best players are their youngest guys that don't know anything about anything, right? Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram, Jordan Clarkson. At some point, D'Angelo Russell, like at some point, you need some kind of veteran leadership in there. And the Lakers are struggling and fighting to keep their ability to draft yet another young guy. And not just another young guy, Lonzo Ball. Okay, and I know a lot of people don't think Lonzo's the best player in the draft because he's not. I agree with the scouts and the analysts because I'm not a scout and analyst. So when they tell me, oh, Markelle Fultz is the best guy in this draft, I'm not going to act like I know more than a scout or an analyst. Markelle Fultz, even though Washington lost a bunch of games, he's the best player in this draft. And I watched his Draft Express tape where they just have his strengths and weaknesses, and this guy can ball. I am all on the Markelle Fultz bandwagon. But the Lakers are going to take Lonzo Ball because he's an LA kid, because it works for the narrative for them, and because Lonzo can really play also, right? My thing with Lonzo is this, that when you get Lonzo, you get Lonzo's crazy dad. Like it's a package deal, right? Like they always talk about like when you marry somebody, you marry their family too. And if their family's crazy, you're getting crazy. It's just part of it. When you get Lonzo Ball, you, as a result, for better or worse, you also get LeVar Ball. And LeVar Ball is bonkers. The man's nuts. And like you're struggling. Your options here are, and I don't know how you win here. Your options are Lonzo Ball, who we think is going to be really good, but we don't know. Like he has weaknesses. That game against Kentucky, I thought was really telling in the NCAA tournament when De'Aaron Fox dropped 39 on him and he scored like 15 points in the game. Like there are plenty of things that you can look at with Lonzo Ball that worry you enough from purely a basketball standpoint. And then when you look at Lonzo Ball and add in the addition of you have to take Lonzo Ball's really crazy dad with him, that does not help when you have a locker room of Julius Randle, immature, Brandon Ingram, immature, D'Angelo Russell, immature, Jordan Clarkson, really immature, really immature. You know what I mean? Like there's all of these guys, all of them. There's young 20-year-old guys in Los Angeles. The lights, the distractions, the girls. It's going to all be there. And then you get to add Lonzo Ball and crazy LeVar Ball to the mix. Like it's like adding fire to gas. And even that is a better option than having no pick at all. Because there's only two ways to acquire talent in the NBA. Either you sign it in free agency or you draft it. There's not a whole ton of trading for elite level talent. Most teams, once they find their guy, I'm trying to pay you the max for the rest of your career. And maybe that does not result in us being any kind of basketball team that goes anywhere or wins anything in particular, but it does not matter. It does not matter. I am trying to lock up my guy. Free agency and the draft are the only ways that it happens in the NBA. And the Lakers are really right now only capable of drafting. And if they don't win in the lottery today, they lose even that ability too. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. 3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's news now.
Tips from the community led to the arrest of Tyler McKinley. It all started when a woman got an alert on her phone that her burglar alarm had been set off, and she released a surveillance camera video of the perpetrator's tips started rolling in. He's been arrested on multiple charges, including aggravated burglary. Due to the notoriety of Jonathan Walker, the main suspect in the Woodmore bus crash case, an outside jury may have to be used. The DA's office is not opposing the petition put forth by his attorney, Amanda Dunn. Jonathan Walker due back in court July the 20th. Mayor Andy Burke has put together a 6-person selection committee to help find the next police chief for Chattanooga. The mayor says it was chosen for its diverse background as well as their specific areas of expertise in the public safety and judicial systems as well as within the community. Chief Fletcher officially retires in July. And residents of Signal Mountain bracing for a 30-cent property tax increase due to the elimination of the hall tax. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
In-depth traffic, news, and information. Mornings on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Clear skies will continue through your nighttime. Mild overnight lows into the lower 60s. For Wednesday, another mostly sunny, hot and dry day. Highs near 90. For Thursday and Friday, continued very warm and humid, if not hot, highs upper 80s with an isolated mountain shower storm. Keep your lawn and garden looking great all summer long with Glass Farm Nursery, featuring all sorts of color from flats, hanging baskets, and trees and shrubs. Open daily, closed Sundays. Glass Farm, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm 1412 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr. On Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Need windows? Hey folks, do you need new windows? Good news. Window Depot of Chattanooga has a great special going on right now. 10 high-quality, energy-efficient double-hung vinyl windows installed for only $29.90. That's right, 10 double-hung vinyl windows, only $2,990. And yes, they qualify for the TVA rebates. Call 894-0011. Window Depot of Chattanooga today, located at 5950 Shalford Road. Call 894-0011 today.
If I'm the city's most intelligent man, it's because I take 2 shots of Mind Enhancement Complex every day. Nature's Finest keeps me stocked with my mainstay, Formula 4. That's where I start. Formula 4. Industrial farming, soil depletion, mineral empty foods. I just say no. Ask about supplements, health, stamina, circulation, heart, prostate under control. Get the Nooga Radio David Tulis freebie. Save $2 on every 5, 20% off. Nooga Radio, the highway, nature's finest.
Join AMAC now and be a part of this growth.
The American dream. Home ownership. Are you building equity for your landlord? Why not build that equity for yourself and your family? Rent No More is a no obligation, no cost program. It's designed to teach you the steps necessary and to coach you all along the path to home ownership. Integrity Mortgage Group is owned and operated by local expert Jeff Woody Woodburn. Jeff has been in the mortgage business for over 15 years. Born and raised right here in the Chattanooga area. Jeff is also known as the Lone Ranger. He's helped countless hundreds. Really eager to help you too. So don't wait. Come on, call Danielle right now. You need to reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Nooga Radio is proud to partner with Integrity Mortgage Group to bring you Rent No More. Reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Stop building equity for your landlord. Live the American dream. Home ownership with Rent No More. We'll see you there.
I have the best steak selection in town. Name of the business is Don's Meat Shop, and I'm Donnie Raines. Just ask for Donnie. I make over 20 different types of sausages. Most of them are great for grilling. We have the best selection, best quality. We have the hard-to-find items. Don's Meat Shop.
He stole out so much cash, such a huge mountain of cash, that he's become a national star. Rick Davis. You know the story. Cash, 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 and more cash. People can't believe it. They want to see it. And now Rick Davis has a new TV show. National TV, USA and Canada. He's got the gold and silver, diamonds and rings. You get dizzy just thinking about it. Rick's selling. Rick's buying. Cash, 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 and more cash. And now a mountain of cash catching the Hollywood spotlight. You know where it is. Brainerd Road. Rick Davis, Gold and Diamonds. Cash, 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 and national TV cash. That's really big. Everyone wants to see it. Money flying out the door. Rick Davis is America's jeweler. It's better than Hollywood. It's right here. Cash, 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 and more cash. Rick Davis, Gold and Diamonds. Brainerd Road.
You love me. You really love me.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
So people are talking about Zaza Pachulia still. Kawhi Leonard, questionable for game 2. He may not go. He may not go. And I don't know how to feel about that necessarily, like Zaza being a dirty player, because I think the guy is dirty, but not dirty in like he's out to injure guys, but definitely a guy goes up for a jump shot and you slide underneath him. You know that there's some chance that that guy gets hurt. You're aware of it and you didn't care. That's where we are with that. Like, you knew, you just didn't care. And it does kind of go back to that Wizards-Celtics series a little bit, which I will sadly talk about in a few seconds. But it goes back to that a little bit with the whole Kelly Olynyk thing, where Kelly Olynyk is a guy that he plays dirty. He does. And Draymond Green called him dirty, which immediately, everybody just throws out of the window like, oh, Draymond said it. Really? Draymond Green said that a play was dirty? Of all the humans on earth to possibly throw that stone, the man in the glassiest house is throwing it. Draymond Green is arguably one of the dirty players in the league. I think Draymond is a little bit more savvy about how he goes about doing that, but regardless, like, he is a dirty guy. So like a dirty guy turning to another guy and saying, you're dirty, not me, you. That is very hypocritical. And I think he is being hypocritical. Bruce Bowen also said that Zaza Pachulia's play was dirty, which again is humorous because it's Bruce Bowen. Bruce Bowen, who slid under people all the time and injured them and never admitted it. Bruce Bowen is a guy that to this day will tell you, I was never dirty. All right, Bruce. Bruce Bowen said that that was dirty. And again, people are looking at you and going, you, really? Really? You? And I get it, though. Here's the thing that I understand with both of these guys calling somebody dirty. That, yes, you can be hypocritical and correct. There is not a exclusivity there. You can be a hypocrite and also right. And they're both being hypocritical by saying that guy's dirty, this guy's play is dirty, when both of them have had their sort of experience on the ride of dirtiness. Like we've certainly seen it. It's been something like that. That's been a part of their careers, right? Like Draymond kicks people. Bruce Bowen did a kung fu movie flying kick of Wally Serbiak in that man's face. Like, kick that man in his face. I watched it live on TV and could not believe what I saw. Absolutely just kicked the man in his face. So, yes, we understand that Bruce Bowen is a dirty player, but also, and I will say this, real recognize real, man. When you are dirty, you know what the dirt looks like. I trust the dirty guys telling me what's dirty more than all these other guys who are standing out here going, well, you're a hypocrite. Well, yeah, but who else but the hypocrite to know better than anybody else what a dirty play is? Right? Like, I've watched it enough. It's dirty. It is dirty. And I don't think his goal was to take Kawhi Leonard out of the series, but his goal was to make Kawhi Leonard uncomfortable shooting. And part of that is the possibility that you might roll your ankle. Like, if I make you feel like when you land, you might hurt yourself, you might be less tempted to shoot over me. It's sort of that, it's trying to get that psychological edge. And I get it. I don't approve, but I understand. I understand. And again, when the dirtiest guys in the game are telling me that someone else is dirty, to get hung up on the fact that they're being hypocritical is to miss the part that they are experts in understanding how this works. Like, nobody understands it better than them. Yeah, you just don't.
You guys do terrific work, and I believe that. But I also
like you absolutely cannot in any way.
I know what they think. They think that Rod Rosenstein.
So, getting back towards the NBA playoffs, though, last night the Boston Celtics eliminate the Washington Wizards from the NBA playoffs behind a really big performance by Isaiah Thomas. But more so than that, man, the Wizards bench provided nothing. The Wizards bench provided no things. They were outscored 48-5. 48-5. I mean, the fact that game ended up looking anywhere near that close was all starters. Was absolutely all starters. They got no help, no production. That's one of those things where you just need to blow it up. Like, you either need a third star or a bench. This is how the NBA works. If you have one or two stars, you can't really go anywhere with just one or two stars. You also need a bench. Right? And the Wizards don't have one. They've got two stars, no bench. And when you look at the Warriors aren't deep. Not really. But the Warriors don't have two stars. The Warriors have four. They have two superstars and two all-stars. Right? They've got Durant and Curry, and then the next tier down, they've got Thompson and they've got Green. Which tells me that
Russia hacked our electrical grid.
They're incredibly fortunate. I mean, they were able to do both drafting, the two ways that you get talent. They were able to draft well, and then in free agency, add Kevin Durant, right? Which no one else has been able to do, and he's the only superstar that's really defected on that level since LeBron James. Like, people talk about why can't we get anybody to play with Chris Paul? Why can't we get anybody to play with John Wall? Like, superstars are not leaving their teams all that often. Like, the league has set it up so that the original team is the one that can make the most money straight up. Like, give you the most money just to start. Right? Like, I mean, that's just the way it is. And so, like, the Celtics have depth, and they're sort of doing the thing that Atlanta wanted to do. Atlanta wants to be that team. Like, maybe we don't have any superstar talent, but they're doing the thing that Atlanta did, that blueprint, but they're doing it better. I think Brad Stevens is a better coach than Coach Bud. I Isaiah Thomas is obviously a more dynamic player than anybody that the Hawks have. Right? Like, he's more dynamic than Schroeder. He's more dynamic than Millsap. I mean, he's just more dynamic, gets points whenever he feels like it. What I find interesting is that Al Horford is on both of those teams. The 60-win Hawk team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals and got crop dusted by LeBron. The same Al Horford. And I think it's funny because like a guy like that is sort of pivotal to the design of how this all works. That if you're going to beat a team that's got LeBron James on it, you better be able to shoot. And you better be able to shoot a lot. And so I feel like I feel a little shortchanged because John Wall did end up playing poorly in that game, but also, man, when your bench gets outscored 48-5, you're running your starters into the ground. We saw it happen with the Rockets, saw it happen with the Wizards last night, and now we're going to watch a couple of finals that aren't any good, right? If the Spurs don't have Kawhi Leonard, what are we watching over there? And if there is no if. The Celtics are not going to win any games against Cleveland. They're not going to beat LeBron in any games. They match up very poorly. It's the absurd, like, sort of rock, paper, scissors thing that's going on in the Eastern Conference where the Wizards actually could match up against Cleveland, but they don't match up very well against Boston, who doesn't match up very well against Cleveland. So that's how you wind up in a triangle where you've just got bad basketball in our conference finals. And so now we have to root for a Golden State Cleveland NBA finals because that's the best thing that we have left. And I don't really know how I feel about that, like that idea being the sort of prevailing cover of this before we get to the NBA finals. This sort of inevitability of what we have going on, where we're going to the NBA finals, and I feel like we've known for months that it was going to be Golden State and Cleveland in the NBA finals. And the only way to do that, to create this level of doubt, because it's not that we don't want a Golden State Cleveland finals. I think that's what everybody wants. But what we want is a little bit of doubt, right? Pretend for us that everybody else has a chance. Like, nobody has a chance in the NFL either when you look at it. Like, the Patriots are going to be back there again. Aaron Rodgers is going to be in the mix somehow. I can't imagine that the Falcons don't end up back in the mix. It's going to be like the same 5 teams from last year. We've only had but 5 teams win the Super Bowl for the last 10 years. We only had but so many teams. It's not like we have a bunch of different teams, right? Like, the Patriots are always winning a Super Bowl. The Giants are always winning a Super Bowl, it feels like. It's only ever a handful of teams, right? It's like 4 teams. It's like Broncos, Seahawks, Patriots, Giants. Who else? But the NFL does a really good job of dressing it up. They do a really good job of pretending for us that, like, maybe you have a chance. And so you're rooting for the Titans. And even though your football team is halfway built, it's still in construction. There's still this idea in your mind that the AFC South is kind of weak. And if you got hot entering the playoffs, you might maybe. No, it's not going to happen, but you feel like it might happen. The NBA doesn't dress it up at all. There's no cloud cover. There's no shadow of doubt to any of this. You just kind of hopelessly feel like, oh yeah, it's Golden State and Cleveland again. What am I watching the entire season for? And the NBA's got to do something about that. I think they should just change the playoff seeding entirely. Get rid of the conferences. Top 16 get in. And just sort of March Madness style, give us regions. Do that. That would be far superior to what we've got going on now. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and NoogaRadio.com. Check us out on 92.7 FM now. We are on the FM side of your dial. Peyton Manning is going to host the ESPYs this year, which I'm okay with, right? Like, there were the rumors surrounding Peyton Manning as a broadcaster, which to me, I would have liked. I would enjoy Peyton Manning as a broadcaster. Peyton Manning is actually fun and interesting and affable. He's got the personality that you would associate with broadcasting, which is, I'm still floored that the Jay Cutler thing is happening, by the way. Floored in every sense of the word. Jay Cutler is going to be on broadcast television as a color commentator. And the only thing saving Jay Cutler is his honesty, is the possibility of brutal honesty is what's giving us a chance with Jay Cutler. Because it's not the personality. Like, if I had to choose a personality of all the quarterbacks out there that were retired, right? Because it feels like that's the thing that retired quarterbacks like to do. It's not something that, like, a guy who used to play DB is not looking to be a color commentator. It just seems like quarterbacks seem to be sort of drawn to the spotlight. So that's where we are with that. Quarterbacks are retiring quarterbacks, or the quarterbacks that were on the bubble with that. Like, Peyton is the guy that I would most have wanted to choose. How we wound up with Jay Cutler and Tony Romo is beyond me. It is especially beyond me how we wound up with Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler, who is best described on good days as terse. This is the very same Jay Cutler. I don't know how we wound up with that, right? But when I look over at Peyton hosting the ESPYs, that seems like a fun time. Remember that one time Peyton hosted SNL? That was great. That was hilarious. That might have been one of the better ones of, like, the newer ones. It's been a while since we've had, like, actual quality SNL, though. We've had some. There have been moments, right? But, like, overall, we haven't had great Saturday Night Live, right? Like, the 90s was when we had great Saturday Night Live, and then we had good Saturday Night Live, and then we have Saturday Night Live now, where, we have Saturday Night Live now for whatever it is that is worth, But Peyton Manning hosting Saturday Night Live, that was a great Saturday Night Live moment. And you have Peyton Manning hosting the ESPYs now. And it's great because, like, you usually have some kind of comedian hosting that award show or something like that. No, you've got Peyton Manning. He's going to roast some people. And it's going to be good. I hope that there's some Tom Brady cheap shots in there. I hope that that's where we're at. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240.
After a bloody batter, we've gotten legislation.
And NoogaRadio.com, 92.7 FM. So the red shirt rule in the SEC. SEC coaches are unanimously in favor of the red shirt rule, which is to say that you can start a quarterback, a freshman quarterback, in up to 4 games and have that person still be considered a red shirt. Right, like you don't burn up their red shirt status. And Orgeron talked about it a little bit yesterday in terms of giving some guys some chances to play, adding a little bit more depth to your football team. College football, the games are getting faster, more wide open. The spread attack has turned this on some level into basketball on grass. And we do have some games even in the SEC where the score totals are insane, right? Yeah, Alabama was involved in a couple of those last year. The Ole Miss Alabama game last year and the Arkansas Alabama game last year. High scoring, up and down affairs where you might want a little bit of depth, and SEC coaches all across agree. My thing is this: why would anybody think that would be something that any SEC coach would be opposed to? There is no era. Listen, there's no era when that would not be a rule that every SEC coach would love. I mean, you could talk about the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. Now, it does not matter. There is not one single era of football where a coach says no to more depth, where a coach says no to having more bodies in and out of the field. Like, it's barely a story. Like, it's a story because it does increase that depth. It's not a story that it's unanimous. It's one of those rules that if you tell me, yeah, everyone voted on this one, you just assume that it's unanimous. Who would have voted against having more players that could play? Who would have voted against greater eligibility? This is everything that coaches want. More players, more depth. No one's voting against that. Who does this actually hurt? It just benefits everybody. Right? Like, and of course, like, you're a guy that plays in the SEC, you get more reps. You know, if you get more reps, you get more opportunities to get better earlier on. Maybe if you know your season's over, you can push some guys in there, see what happens, and you don't lose the redshirt status. It's a win-win-win for everybody. How is this? Like, it barely seems like news in a whole lot of ways. Like, it's one of those things that you almost have to just kind of gloss over, because there is no era of football. There is no conference of football where if you offer coaches more depth, they don't say yes. They don't just outright go absolutely. And that's what's being offered to them here. You might as well just offer them more money. Yeah, they'll take that too. To me, it's just one of those things. I couldn't believe that this wasn't something that happened already. It was so insane. Now, everybody said, from Derek Mason to Ed Orgeron, that you get to boost your roster. You can get people acclimated to the speed of the college game. There are some guys that can come in. They know how to play already. They don't have to redshirt. But for the guys that you have to redshirt, this only helps you in developing them and training them. In addition to giving you more bodies, it helps you in bringing guys on just a little bit faster, getting them in certain game time situations where, look, this is faster than high school now. And you get to see it, you get to feel it, and you can, and I still don't have to, lose the red shirt. I still don't have to. Right? Doesn't mess with my roster situation. It's unanimous. Of course it's unanimous. That's not shocking. In other news, water. Wet. Right? Like, there's no era where this would not be something that absolutely everybody would love, and unanimously voted for getting through SEC rules. So we will talk more about the softball tournament, the National Softball Tournament. UTC, or Chat State, is in theirs right now. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240, 92.7 FM, and NoogaRadio.com.
Nooga Radio, AM 1240, 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga's best kept secret, Boyd Speedway. Come see the fastest dirt late model drivers in the South compete for a purse every Saturday night. Pit gates open at 3, grandstand opens at 5. Racing starts at 7. Bring the whole family for a night of fun as they tear it up on the dirt track. Go to BoydSpeedway.net and check out the Dirt Simulator. BoydSpeedway.DirtSimulator.com. Chattanooga's best kept secret, Boyd Speedway. Fun-filled, outrageous racing. We'll see you Saturday night.
The UCRA Crate Late Model Event. Limited late models, crate late models, sportsman, hobby, and street stocks.
Boyd Speedway.
Competent, kind, caring, knowledgeable, experienced, great listener, great negotiator, in touch, accessible. If these are the characteristics you want and need in a realtor, you want and need Thomas DeMoss of Keller Williams Realty. Thomas is a very gifted realtor who puts the client's needs first. Whether you're buying or selling a home, Thomas is the realtor of choice. Thomas will help and guide you through each step of this very important process. For many of us, the purchase of a home is one of our largest investments and most important family and financial decision. Let Thomas use his 10 years of experience in the Chattanooga real estate market to give you the advantage you need when buying or selling a home. Buying a house? Thomas can help you navigate the emotional and somewhat anxious process of buying a home. For those of you who want to sell a house, Thomas uses his marketing and negotiating experience to help you sell your home for top dollar. Thomas is a local resident, raising his family here in Hamilton County. He knows the area very well. For many agents, real estate is a job. With Thomas DeMoss, it's a passion and what he loves to do. Call Thomas today for a no-obligation consultation. He makes the process as simple as possible. Call 423-364-0028 and visit his website, northriverpropertygroup.com.
Picture that curl of steam rising from your fresh-made pizza. And in a flash, let it take you aloft, teasing all your senses. I'm talking about Jet's Pizza. If you eat out at Jet's in Hickson or take home your steaming deep dish square pizza, you'll love Jet's. They use only the best ingredients in a family recipe. Also try the cheesy bread, wings, chicken, or bread with bacon, antipasta or Greek salad. Jet's Pizza at Buy Low near the S-Curves. Open till 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. You can order online or have it delivered. jetspizza.com. That's jetspizza.com. Or call them now. They'll have it ready when you get there. 757-1616. That's 757-1616.
Jet's Pizza, the best pizza in town. 3600 Hickson Pike.
Life is short. Eat better pizza.
Final expenses, funeral cost, cemetery lots, unpaid medical bills, probate cost, debts. Debts are due and payable upon death of debtor. Will these costs produce a burden and hardship on your loved ones? Who will be responsible? How will they handle them? These costs can total many thousands of dollars, only compounded greater with the grief of losing a family member. A safe and secure way to provide for these costs is with an affordable life insurance from Covenant Group Insurance and Financial Services. Covenant Group is a local company with local agents. Covenant Group still makes house calls. Covenant Group only represents A-rated companies. With many options to offer, Covenant Group can accommodate almost any budget. Great discounts for good health and plans available for impaired risk. Call today for a free, no-obligation consultation in the convenience of your home. Call Steve or Jada at 423-855-8484. Call today, 423-855-8484.
It is Eric Jones hard into the outside wall, and they are still 3 and 4 wide. It looks like we're racing at Talladega.
Caution flag is out. It looked like Denny Hamlin was trying to get by Ricky Stenhouse. Got into the back of Ricky at the line. Man, that's a close one. Matt Kenseth wins stage 1.
Green checkered flag is out, and Brad Keselowski has won stage 2.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. into the wall. That will bring out the caution. Caution waving once again. And again, it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. involved.
Oh, trouble. Ty Dillon has gotten turned to the inside of the racetrack, and Clint Boyer has just nailed him.
Matt Kenseth falling back, the field storming by. Something wrong. Now we see sparks from Kenseth's Toyota.
Larson chucks him off. Coming off turn number 2. Nose to tail. Now it's Logano to the high side in 3.
Joey Logano, a winner here at the Richmond International Raceway.
Here at Live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Nooga Radio, AM 1240, 92.7 FM.
The voice of NASCAR.
WBLZ HD4 Ottawa, W224AZ Chattanooga, WSDT Sunny Daisy Chattanooga.
A memo from James Comey claimed the president wanted him to end the probe into former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn.
President Trump said that he hoped Comey would let go of the Flynn investigation.
The president's Oval Office conversations with Russian diplomats.
It was wholly appropriate to share what the threat was.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Dave Barrett. New claims that President Trump pressured his now former FBI director, James Comey, to end an investigation of fired National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. The latest from correspondent Jeff Pegues.
President Trump and then FBI Director James Comey met at the White House on February 14th, the day after National Security Advisor Michael Flynn was fired. Flynn had lied to the vice president about his contacts with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Those contacts are now under investigation by the FBI. Comey wrote up a memo about the meeting with the president. In it, he said that Mr. Trump had asked him to drop the Flynn investigation. I hope you can see your way clear to letting this go, he wrote. He is a good guy.
A White House statement issued just over an hour ago says, in part, the president has never asked Mr. Comey or anyone else to end any investigation, including any investigation involving General Flynn. Andrew Cohen is CBS News senior legal analyst.
In a court of law, this could be considered obstruction of justice because a contemporaneous record like this memo, could come into evidence.
California's Adam Schiff, the ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, wants to hear James Comey lay out the facts.
He needs to come back before the Congress and I think share with the public what conversations he had with the president that may bear on whether there was any effort to obstruct the investigation or impede it in any way.
If the president did ask to end that investigation, CBS's Nancy Cordes asked Congressman Schiff,
does this comment, when added to others, if true, constitute obstruction of justice?
I'll be very interested if there are notes in precisely what the president said and in hearing from the director filling in on what those notes have reported. It's enough for Congress to insist on the director coming back, on obtaining this evidence. We really do need to determine whether there was a concerted effort by the president to interfere or obstruct this investigation.
When in the Oval Office last week with Russia's foreign minister and its ambassador, President Trump said global terrorism issues were discussed. There are reports indicating Mr. Trump shared some sensitive material with those diplomats. CBS's Steve Dorsey.
Even though the White House says sources and methods weren't revealed, a former official familiar with the information discussed in the Oval Office says it could jeopardize lives or speed up ISIS plots. A source says disclosing the information to Russia obtained from a U.S. partner may compromise future intelligence sharing.
The Dow dropped 2. Now this.
Are you dreaming of a summer vacation? If you want to find the best vacation rental at the best price, it's time to stop dreaming and start booking. Hi, I'm Jen O'Neill.
And I'm Jeff Manheimer.
And we're the founders of Tripping.com, the world's largest site for vacation rentals.
With more than 10 million vacation rentals to choose from, Tripping.com makes it easy to find the perfect beach house, lake house, or condo for your big summer vacation.
And because Tripping.com shows you properties from dozens of sites, we know when you're likely to get the best selection of vacation rentals at the best price. For a dream summer vacation, now is the time.
That's right. Popular destinations like Miami, Myrtle Beach, San Diego, and Lake Tahoe are going fast. But with average prices around $99 per night, you can have your own multi-bedroom home with parking and a pool for way less than you might expect.
So don't miss your chance. Book now to get the best place at the best price in your dream destination. Go to Tripping.com and find your happy place today.
That's TRIPPING.com.
To find the perfect place to stay, go to Tripping.com today.
With North Korea having recent missile launches and nuclear tests in the past. Well, that won't do, says the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Here's CBS's Bill Rakoff.
Ambassador Nikki Haley was blunt in her comments.
No more. This is not playtime. This is serious. These threats are not welcome.
Haley said the U.S. and the international community will crack down on Pyongyang.
We're going to make sure we put the pressure on them economically, diplomatically, politically, and internationally in any way that we need to.
She said the U.S. is willing to talk to Kim Jong-un, but only if he stops the nuclear process immediately.
Texas Senator Republican John Cornyn says he won't be giving up his seat. Cornyn says he does not want to remain under consideration to become the next FBI director. At least 7 names are still on that list of those who might succeed James Comey. You're listening to the CBS World News Roundup.
3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's news now.
Tips from the community led to the arrest of Tyler McKinley. It all started when a woman got an alert on her phone that her burglar alarm had been set off, and she released a surveillance camera video of the perpetrator's. Tips started rolling in. He's been arrested on multiple charges, including aggravated burglary. Due to the notoriety of Jonathan Walker, the main suspect in the Woodmore bus crash case, an outside jury may have to be used. The DA's office is not opposing the petition put forth by his attorney, Amanda Dunn. Jonathan Walker due back in court July the 20th. Mayor Andy Burke has put together a 6-person selection committee to help find the next police chief for Chattanooga. The mayor says it was chosen for its diverse background as well as their specific areas of expertise in the public safety and judicial systems as well as within the community. Chief Fletcher officially retires in July. And residents of Signal Mountain bracing for a 30-cent property tax increase due to the elimination of the hall tax. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
In-depth traffic, news, and information. Mornings on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Clear skies will continue through your nighttime. Mild overnight lows into the lower 60s. For Wednesday, another mostly sunny, hot and dry day. Highs near 90. For Thursday and Friday, continued very warm and humid, if not hot, highs upper 80s with an isolated mountain shower storm. Keep your lawn and garden looking great all summer long with Glass Farm Nursery, featuring all sorts of color from flats, hanging baskets, and trees and shrubs. Open daily, closed Sundays. Glass Farm, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm Swargene 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Ford. On on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM knows your opinion is important. So call 800-8949. Agree or disagree. Call 423-800-8949. 800-8949. Nooga Radio, AM 1240, 92.7 FM, and 95.3 HD4. News, talk, sports. Nooga Radio.
I would like to talk about our sort of dismal prospects in the NBA playoffs. But first, let me talk about the Atlanta Braves, because they are worse than I thought they would be. You're listening to AM 1240 and 92.7 FM, Clutch with Keon Rose, hour number 2 of the show. Thank you for joining me, making me just a small part of your day. You know that I appreciate you. The Atlanta Braves are terrible. We are 1/5 of the way through the season, and this might be the most dead-on-arrival baseball team that we've seen in Atlanta in the last 10 years. Like, you show up and you know this is going to be bad. Now, there are varying degrees of bad, right? Because all sports are, when we talk about why we like sports, why we watch it, all sports are is a sort of collection of moments of hope. That's essentially, if you boil it down to what we like, it's moments of hope. And when you feel like your team has no chance, you don't feel as keyed in, right? I think that there's a big proponent of people that they don't like NBA basketball because of that feeling of no hope. It's not dressed up. The NBA does not have a way of hiding the fact that the Warriors are the best team in the West. Any team with LeBron on it is the best team in the East, and everybody else just kind of doesn't have a chance. They're not really good at dressing that up, right? Like, I watch the NFL, I root for the Washington Redskins, and there's still like some level of, well, we could make the playoffs. And if we make the playoffs, hey, like, you feel like if you get hot, you can get in, you can make the playoffs, and hey, it's kind of anybody's game. That level of hope is what works there, and it doesn't feel that way if you take that and apply it to the Atlanta Braves. Like, there is no hope for this team, and like, the only thing that's worse than not having hope to start is having hope and realizing that it was completely misguided and misplaced in the first place, which is where we are with the Braves. Like, there was some idea that, like, yes, this is not a playoff baseball team. This is not a baseball team that's going to make any particular kind of run. But people wanted to see an improvement from this year's baseball team from last year's baseball team. A team that started off incredibly slow and spent, I would say, about 66 to 67% of the season last season just woefully underachieving before getting kind of hot at the end. And they put something together, and it made you think, wait, there's a little bit of potential for this baseball team. There's a future for this baseball team that doesn't require us to wait 5 years of rebuilding. Maybe we can fast track this thing a little bit. Maybe if the offense is working and we just get a little bit of solid pitching, not a lot, not the greatest pitching on earth, just a little bit of solid pitching. Hence the 1-year deals that we had to veteran guys like R.A. Dickey and Bartolo Colon. And we end up with a situation whereby all of those guys are bad. Every single one of them has been horrible, and about only R.A. Dickey has been the guy that you thought he was going to be, right? Which is not great. None of these guys ever were under the possibility, like, okay, they're going to be great. Like, you're going to give up 5 runs with Cologne. That's what you roughly thought. R.A. Dickey's ERA is about 4.22. Like, that, okay, he's given up between 4 and 5 runs. Again, that's what you thought. And if the bats are working, then you're going to have an opportunity to win some of these games, maybe even half of them. And that's why I strongly thought at the beginning of the season, all right, this is a team that can be a 500 baseball team, if not sort of approaching 500. If they're not 500, they'll be a little bit under it. I don't believe that at all anymore. We're a fifth of the way through the season. They're 9 games under 500. They're a million games behind the Nationals, and they haven't shown any propensity to pitch at home. They haven't shown a propensity to hit on the road. It's the worst combination of all things. And if you're a Braves fan, that level of hope and optimism that you came into with the season, and again, it's not a lot of hope, okay? It's not a lot of optimism. It was some hope and some optimism. It was a little bit of hope and a little bit of optimism. We might not be the worst team in baseball is not the bar that you wanted to have to clear. To be disappointed from the very, very low goal of, good heavens, don't let us be the worst. To be disappointed by that, because the Braves are, in terms of win percentage and wins and losses, just straight up wins and losses, they're the worst team in baseball. Like, you were just hoping to not be the worst. That's it. That's all you're asking for. Like, nothing extravagant, nothing wild. Just, hey, how about let us not be the worst team in baseball? How about we have some pitching that can give us a decent enough rotation to where we can hang in some of these games with teams? Because, I mean, like, the schedule's not going to get any easier than this. Like, when you look at the schedule, a lot of Braves fans look at it and go, okay, well, we've played a lot of tough teams. It's like, yeah, well, in your division is the Mets and the Nationals. You're going to play a lot of tough teams. You're going to play a lot of those games where you're overmatched by a team that can score like crazy, and they're probably going to hold you to 1 or 2 runs a game. You are going to have more of those than anybody else. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. Like, this is not going to get better for you. The schedule is not going to get easier for you. Just some of these games you have to win, especially some of these games at home. Like, the 8 ERA at home for Julio Teheran it boggles the mind. It honestly does. There is no level on which that makes sense. You are a baseball team that moved into a new stadium. It is your first year in the new stadium. Your fans are fired up, and you cannot pitch at home? And not just like pitch badly at home. Pitch almost historically badly at home. Why? Like, I wish that there was some way to get to the bottom of this. Why? Why are you so bad at home? And Julio Teheran is a guy, he can't be your best guy. He can't be the best pitcher in your rotation. That's what we learned about him. He can be the second best pitcher in your rotation. He can be the third best pitcher in your rotation. Julio Teheran cannot be the best pitcher in your rotation, because that means you have a bad rotation. That's what that means. Can't be him. Right? If like there was a point where, like, if you have Harry Douglas is a guy, right, with the Atlanta Falcons. Harry Douglas, to me, was a really good receiver. There was a point where Harry Douglas was the second best wide receiver that the Falcons had. Like, if you have Harry Douglas as your second best wide receiver, like, your receiving core is not great. Right? You had Roddy White and Harry Douglas. Well, no disrespect to Harry Douglas, but he's Harry Douglas. Right? Like, when you added Julio to the mix, all of a sudden, and this was in the prime, not currently, but like, Julio is your best receiver. Roddy White was your second best receiver. Harry Douglas is your third. All of a sudden, your wide receiver core looks a whole lot better. That's where we are with Julio Teheran and the Braves. He is not a guy that you want to be your best pitcher, because if he is your best pitcher, you are bad at pitching. And he's solid. When he's not at home, he's solid. But it can't be him. All right, he's just not the one. He's not that dude. So you've got all of those problems going on with the Braves, the pitching problems, the problems scoring runs, and just so many other things. And then on top of that, like this is not how bad we thought this team was going to be. Like a team that looked like it might fall a few games short of 500, you can live with. But when the bar is don't let us be last and you're last, and you could not even clear that, I mean, that's a problem. That's a very big problem. And I don't think that that's what the fans signed up for. I don't think that's what they deserved. And so now, like the first season in the new stadium, kind of souring a little bit. I mean, kind of souring a lot of it, really. Lunch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. This is a storyline that we have, a legitimate storyline that I saw on the internet. The Big Lead is a great blog. It is a blog of USA Today Sports. And the number one headline is 3 reasons the Celtics have a legit chance to not be swept by LeBron's Cavs. And I didn't even read it. I just looked at the headline. I didn't even read it because it's faulty for a number of reasons. There is 0% chances that the Cavs don't sweep the Celtics. They are absolutely going to sweep the Celtics with a gigantic Cleveland-sized broom, I imagine. That's what it is. I mean, they're going to sweep the Boston Celtics so hard. We're going to forget that they were there, and it's just going to be another one of those teams where you're like, wow, LeBron really didn't play anybody on his way to the finals. And it's not even going to be his fault. It's not even going to be his fault. He can't help who keeps showing up in front of him. I'm just saying it's a gigantic broom. He's going to be blowing him away. Okay, there's no chance. But also, is this where we've come to? Is this where we are? We're looking for ways to enjoy this by looking at ways that a team could not be swept. That's the low bar that we're setting. Not just don't get swept. Like it's just like the thing I was talking about with the Braves, where the bar that we set is so impossibly low. Don't be the last team in the major leagues. Oh, actually, you are very much the very last team in the major leagues. Like the low bar for the Celtics is don't get swept by the Cavs. Look, man, you are absolutely going to get swept by the Cavs. But not only that, the fact that that's the only storyline we can create from this series tells me like this is just a dud. Like there's a level of, if you're a basketball junkie, at least you could have enjoyed the ride up until now, right? Wizards Celtics was a great series. You could have enjoyed that ride up until now. Clippers Jazz was a fun series. You could have enjoyed that part of the ride up until now. Spurs Rockets was fun. You could have enjoyed certain parts of this ride. The Western Conference Finals looks absolutely brutal, and unless the Spurs have Kawhi Leonard, it's not going to be fun for us. And then you look on the Eastern Conference side, and like this isn't fun. Watching LeBron James stomp through the Eastern Conference, like giant Mario when he gets the mushroom that makes him big, and he just stomps through everything. Like watching LeBron stomp through the Eastern Conference. It is not entertaining. Okay, it is not fun. We just have to kind of survive, right? Like we just kind of have to hang on in there. It's pretty crazy. That's all we got. Left with Keon Rose at AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. NBA story tonight, though. Because sports are sort of built on hope, right? Like that's the foundation of most sports. The only reason why, if you're a Cubs fan, it felt so good last year to see the Cubs finally win the World Series is because you had always hoped they would, never imagined they could. Right? Like that was always what it was. You always hoped, but you never actually believed. The NBA draft lottery is based on that. In fact, all of these sort of great non-sports sporting events, the NFL draft, the NFL draft combine, Selection Sunday for the NCAA tournament, National Signing Day, all of these non-sports sporting events are based on hope. And tonight, the NBA draft lottery, probably the most hope-filled event of the non-sport sporting events, right? Because you're not in control of anything. What it comes down to is some ping pong balls. That's what it comes down to. We're just with the fate of an entire franchise comes down to some of the ping pong balls. And there have been so many conspiracies surrounding the NBA draft lottery with the NBA would never allow its one of its premier franchises to be destitute and bad for years and years and years. Even though the NBA blocked the trade to Los Angeles that would have gotten the Lakers Chris Paul. But yet, the conspiracy theorists, they're all about that. The league's not going to allow the Lakers to be bad. They're just not. All right, fine. But there's still the chance that the Lakers don't. And the swing between being, okay, we're pretty good and really bad is such a gigantic swing. It's such a gigantic gap. Because if the Lakers don't get this pick this year, they not only don't get to pick this year in a year where we've got a lot of good wing players and a lot of good guard talent. Not only do they not get a pick this year, they don't get anything next year. They lose their pick next year as well. But that's sort of what they get. They mortgaged their future back in 2009 and 2010. These are the picks that they traded away. We shouldn't be shocked that this is happening to them. When you decide to mortgage your future, understand, like, that's when the future comes, you're going to have a bad present. Right? Like, it's those people that can't really afford to have a nice car, but they really, really want a nice car. So they go out and get themselves a really nice car. Like, okay, but guess what? Your car's going to depreciate horribly. And the moments of fun that you have driving this car now, when the maintenance costs go up and you can't afford anything else, I hope it was worth it. You know, the Lakers traded away picks for a chance to win a championship, which they have. They won the championship that they traded away for. So I can't really get mad at them. They did actually win it. The problem is now it's come back to bite them now. I still think it was worth it. Like, if you could guarantee yourself a couple of rings, but then, like, you have to go through like 10 years of sadness, wouldn't you do it? Because a lot of people can't. Like, a lot of people would do exactly that. Right? Like, if you it's like one of those hypothetical situations that's just, you think about it and you're like, man, that sounds awful. But like, if you could absolutely land your dream job and be the best person at your dream job, but in exchange your life is shortened by like 10 years, 15 years, would you do it? Like, everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people would go for it. Yeah. Like, I will get out of the job that you think absolutely stinks. That's like the equivalent of winning a championship in life, is getting the job you want. If that meant a shorter life, would you do it? A lot of people would say yes. The Lakers said yes. The Lakers won championships, and as a result, they sacrificed the future, and now they're in a place where they've got a 43% chance of keeping their pick. If they keep their pick, they might end up picking somebody that's not all that great for them anyway. Like, I don't think that Lonzo Ball is a great fit for them. I think that he'll be a great fit anywhere he goes because he's talented. But the Lakers have a bunch of guards. They have Jordan Clarkson, they have Brandon Ingram, and they've got D'Angelo Russell. So they've already got a bunch of guards. They have that. Then you'd be bringing on Lonzo Ball, who's another guard. Like, at some point, you need to draft bigs. You need to draft wings. Like, you're drafting another point guard the year after you drafted a point guard if you take Lonzo Ball. Which, again, if you think that Lonzo Ball is worth the pick, take the pick. I'm all about taking the best guy on the board. Take the best player available. Fine. The problem is, with them specifically, their team is already filled with nutcases. Like, when they had Nick Young on their team forever, you've got Jordan Clarkson, who he thinks he's a player, apparently. You just got all these guys, and they're all head cases. And then you're going to bring in Lonzo Ball, who, in fairness, is not a head case, but comes with this crazy head case father, right? Like you're adding stuff to your locker room that does not need to be a part of your locker room in any particular kind of way. And can we talk about Lonzo for a second? Because I feel like the best thing for Lonzo Ball is to be nowhere near the Lakers. That guy needs to get out of Los Angeles. He needs to get out of his bubble. He needs to get out of the sphere of influence of his dad. So he can be able to live his life somewhere and enjoy it. That's what he needs. But if he's there, the Lakers are going to take him, right? People think that Magic Johnson is a guy that wouldn't do that. And I strongly disagree. I think Magic is a very smart person, but Magic is a guy that loves the hometown and loves Los Angeles and is all LA pride. I don't think that Magic's going to do what's best for that basketball team. I think he's going to do what looks good appearance-wise. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and 93.7 FM.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's news now.
Tips from the community led to the arrest of Tyler McKinley. It all started when a woman got an alert on her phone that her burglar alarm had been set off, and she released a surveillance camera video of the perpetrator's. Tips started rolling in. He's been arrested on multiple charges, including aggravated burglary. Due to the notoriety of Jonathan Walker, the main suspect in the Woodmore bus crash case, an outside jury may have to be used. The DA's office is not opposing the petition put forth by his attorney, Amanda Dunn. Jonathan Walker due back in court July the 20th. Mayor Andy Burke has put together a 6-person selection committee to help find the next police chief for Chattanooga. The mayor says it was chosen for its diverse background as well as their specific areas of expertise in the public safety and judicial systems as well as within the community. Chief Fletcher officially retires in July. And residents of Signal Mountain bracing for a 30-cent property tax increase due to the elimination of the hall tax. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
In-depth traffic, news, and information. Mornings on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Clear skies will continue through your nighttime. Mild overnight lows into the lower 60s. For Wednesday, another mostly sunny, hot and dry day. Highs near 90. For Thursday and Friday, continued very warm and humid, if not hot. Highs upper 80s with an isolated mountain shower storm. Keep your lawn and garden looking great all summer long with Glass Farm Nursery, featuring all sorts of color from flats, hanging baskets, and trees and shrubs. Open daily, closed Sundays. Glass Farm, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm Swarmstein 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore. On Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Need windows? Hey folks, do you need new windows? Good news. Window Depot of Chattanooga has a great special going on right now. 10 high-quality, energy-efficient, double-hung vinyl windows installed for only $29.90. That's right, 10 double-hung vinyl windows, only $2,990. And yes, they qualify for the TVA rebates. Call 894-0011. Window Depot of Chattanooga today, located at 5950 Shalford Road. Call 894-0011 today.
If I'm the city's most intelligent man, it's because I take 2 shots of Mind Enhancement Complex every day. Nature's Finest keeps me stocked with my mainstay, Formula 4. That's where I start. Formula 4. Industrial farming, soil depletion, mineral empty foods. I just say no. Ask about supplements, health, stamina, circulation, heart, prostate under control. Get the Nooga Radio David Tulis freebie. Save $2 on every 5. 20% off. Nooga Radio, Lee Highway, Nature's Finest.
The American Dream. Home ownership. Are you building equity for your landlord? Why not build that equity for yourself and your family? Rent No More is a no obligation, no cost program. It's designed to teach you the steps necessary and to coach you all along the path to home ownership. Integrity Mortgage Group is owned and operated by local expert Jeff Woody Woodburn. Jeff has been in the mortgage business for over 15 years. Born and raised right here in the Chattanooga area. Jeff is also known as the Lone Ranger. He's helped countless hundreds. Really eager to help you too. So don't wait. Come on, call Danielle right now. You need to reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Hey, Nooga Radio is proud to partner with Integrity Mortgage Group to bring you Rent No More. Reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Stop building equity for your landlord. Live the American dream. Home ownership with Rent No More. We'll see you there.
We have the best steak selection in town. Name of the business is Don's Meat Shop, and I'm Donnie Raines. Just ask for Donnie. I make over 20 different types of sausages. Most of them are great for grilling. We have the best selection, best quality. We have the hard-to-find items. Don's Meat Shop.
He stole out so much cash, such a huge amount of cash, that he's become a national star. Rick Davis, you know the story. Cash, 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 and more cash. People can't believe it. They want to see it. And now Rick Davis has a new TV show. National TV, USA and Canada. He's got the gold and silver, diamonds and rings. You get dizzy just thinking about it. Rick's selling, Rick's buying. Cash, 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 and more cash. And now a mountain of cash catching the Hollywood spotlight. You know where it is, Brainerd Road. Rick Davis, Gold and Diamonds. Cash, 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 and national TV cash. That's really big. Everyone wants to see it. Money flying out the door. Rick Davis is America's jeweler. It's better than Hollywood. It's right here. Cash, 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 and more cash. Rick Davis, Gold and Diamonds. Brainerd Road.
You love me. You really love me.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern. The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
So I'm always of the belief that there are people that you can trust in different fields, right? If I don't know anything about construction, I would ask a construction worker to tell me how it is that construction works. And I have friends in different various fields, and I don't know necessarily the specifics of how all of these things work. So, I have a friend who's in the music industry. If I have a music question, I will ask him. I have a friend who's a trucker. I just think the trucking is just an interesting job. I ask him about it all the time. In the dirt business, Bruce Bowen's been the king of the dirt business, of the I'm a dirty player business. He's that guy. He's been the king of the dirt business. And so when Bruce Bowen says, hey, Zaza Pachulia, his play was absolutely dirty, I don't want to hear about the hypocrisy of what it is that he is saying. I believe you. I agree. It is hypocritical of Bruce Bowen, of all human beings, who has injured everyone from Kobe Bryant to Jermaine O'Neal. He's injured, he's run the gauntlet. He's run the gauntlet of NBA injuries. He very much has. But listen to me, though. Who else would know better than him? No one would know better than him. He's the expert. He's the guy who knows. What? Why else? Why else would he say that? Now, I do have a problem with Bruce Bowen, but I've always had this problem with him where no one can get Bruce Bowen to admit to Bruce Bowen's dirtiness. Bruce Bowen is very much that guy that believes that he's never in a day in his life has he ever done anything dirty to anybody else. Listen to me. When these guys slide up underneath shooters, they all do the same thing. They slide their feet underneath the guy lands on their foot, and they turn their head away before the guy lands, and they run away like nothing happened. When was the last time someone stepped on your foot and you didn't notice? Now, wait. When was the last time somebody stepped on your foot and you didn't know? Okay, now imagine and extrapolate for me that this person weighs a couple 100 pounds because they're a professional athlete and they landed directly on your leg. You know. You very, very much know. Don't act like you didn't see. That was what he did. If that guy landed on your foot, you know. I mean, you absolutely know. There's no way that you don't. So I know that he was being dirty. And if Bruce Bowen, the king of that, says you were being dirty, then guess what? You were being dirty. Now, he could be particularly hypocritical. That's a thing too. But that's a different situation. If he's just a straight up hypocrite, that's a different situation entirely. And one that, quite frankly, does not need a ton of doesn't need a ton of explanation. He's the expert. If I want to know about construction, I ask the construction worker. If I want to know about trucking, I ask the trucker. If I want to know about being a dirty player, I ask Bruce Bowen. And Bruce Bowen said it was dirty. So I automatically believe him. And that's about all that there is to that. That's about all there is to that. So, one of the things that I think is incredibly interesting is whenever we have something that happens in retrospect and we just always remember it as being better than it was. Like movies that have won awards in the past. Previous award-winning movies or anything of that nature. And we just remember it as being great. And then you go back and you watch the movie, and the movie's not at all good. I remember a few of my friends who were talking about Monsters Ball as a movie. And it's incredible to me that movie came up because if you've watched that movie lately, and I would recommend it, really. You're not missing nothing. It's not good. It's not good. But it won an award. We will always remember that movie as being great because it won an Academy Award. Right? Like just winning the thing makes it stick in our minds. And this happens with every team that's ever won a Super Bowl and lost a Super Bowl. We don't remember how great the Bills were because the Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls. Now, they didn't win any of them. But if you had to pick an offense, like you had to pick an offense that had to score, let's say that offense had to score 21 points in an NFL game for your life. Your life is on the line. And the only way that you're going to save it is to go historically and pick an NFL offense to score points for your life. Like outside of the greatest show on turf, you're picking the Bills. You're picking the Bills, the K-gun offense that they stole from the Bengals. You're taking that offense. You're taking Jim Kelly. You're taking Marv Levy. You're taking the Bills. And just because the Bills don't have any Super Bowl rings to show for how good that team was, does not mean that team was not good. And I look at the whole Kevin Durant thing in this same way. People act like Kevin Durant is some kind of a punk. Kevin Durant is a chump. Kevin Durant, he's a wuss. Well, he left he left Oklahoma City to join the Golden State Warriors. Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors, if they win an NBA title this year, if they win a few NBA titles, you know what? You're never, like 15 years from now, you're never going to remember, oh yeah, Kevin used to struggle and then he went to the Warriors. Like, what if now, from here on out, this team is just always contending and Kevin walks away with 5-6 NBA championships? You think that's gonna taint him? We're going to be talking about him as one of the greatest players of all time. And it's going to make that whole LeBron conversation much more difficult to have because LeBron's definitely played on worse teams. Right? Like you had Kevin Durant in his prime. If Kevin dominates from here on out, he's playing with the Warriors. They play efficient basketball. It's going to be easy for him to score even as he ages. We're not going to remember that he did that. Like, we're not going to remember that he left. We're not. I'm telling you, it's not going to come up. Because the only thing that we seem to remember is the rings, right? Like the movies that maybe did not deserve to win Academy Awards have won Academy Awards. And if you were runner-up, if you were second place, we don't remember. Like, Leonardo DiCaprio is an Academy Award-winning actor, and he won for The Revenant. But you can go through this entire man's like list of movies that he's ever acted in and find a bunch of movies that you arguably he could have won awards for previously. You could go through his whole list and find more stuff. If you want to talk about the great actors of all time, if somehow that man had never won an Academy Award, I think he won it for The Revenant. If he had never won an Academy Award, he doesn't come up as high on the list further on down the road. He doesn't. We remember the wins. We remember championships. And if you didn't win a championship, we find a way to very conveniently forget you. And if you win a championship, we will inflate you into levels that you do not necessarily deserve. Like if you had to pick all of the quarterbacks in the NFL right now and say, hey, I need to choose a quarterback to be the guy. Like, you have to rent a quarterback for one season. One. I have to choose one guy to run my team for one season. Who do I choose? You would name a bunch of people before you named Eli Manning. Eli Manning's going to be in the Hall of Fame. You know who we're not sure is going to be in the Hall of Fame? We're not sure if Matt Ryan's going to be in the Hall of Fame. We're not sure if Phillip Rivers is going to be in the Hall of Fame. There are a ton of guys we're not sure if they're going to be in the Hall of Fame. And you know why? Because they don't have rings. They don't have championships. And that's insane. Like, it kind of goes back to our eye test thing yesterday, where if you saw a guy that was really, really good, then why wouldn't you just want that guy to be like really, really good? Like, just look at that guy and go, oh yeah, no, that guy's the best that I've ever seen do that. Don't worry about the rings. Like, to me, Phillip Rivers is, when you look at him statistically and on paper, a better quarterback than Eli Manning. Phillip Rivers has never played with as many weapons. He's never had the running game, and he's never had the defense that Eli has had. Phillip Rivers wins one championship, he's a Hall of Famer. And if the difference between you being a Hall of Famer or not is a championship in a team game, then to me, you're crazy. Like, you're crazy to say that Phillip Rivers is not a for-sure Hall of Famer, but Eli Manning is. But Eli Manning's going to be in the Hall of Fame because he's got 2 rings. And Phillip Rivers does not have 2 rings. Even though Phillips played on worse teams and is statistically the superior quarterback. Phillip Rivers was in the playoffs basically once. And the one time Phillip Rivers went into the playoffs, he tore his ACL, had emergency surgery, and played the next week on a torn ACL 1 week after. I don't even know what you call that. You basically have to call it a hack job. You wouldn't call that knee surgery. He went out there and played, and we punish him for it all the time. Like, yeah, he was only in the playoffs one time, and he wasn't able to make it out of the second round. Are you serious? It's madness. It's absolutely madness. We just remember it weird. So like when I look at Kevin Durant and I look at what's happening with the Warriors, people are ready to just jump on the Kevin Durant thing and like act like this guy is no good. Kevin Durant is a great player. That's the reason why the Warriors thing currently works right now. Because like entering this series, the Warriors were still odds-on favorites to beat the Spurs, to more or less run through the Western Conference. They don't add Kevin Durant after losing last year in the NBA Finals up 3-1 the way that they lost. I don't know that we are so sold on the Warriors going back again. It's adding Kevin Durant that pushes them over the top in the first place, right? Because who are you relying on if you're not relying on Kevin Durant? Harrison Barnes? Come on, man. Come on, man. Like, there's just a level of insanity that comes with this. Now, I understand there is a way that if Kevin Durant plays, if there is a way that Kevin Durant could play, that we would look at Kevin Durant differently, and you'd be correct if you called him a chump. And that would be if Kevin Durant did nothing, right? That would be if Kevin Durant were a complete chump, wasn't playing well, wasn't playing smart, wasn't playing good, shied away from big moments, didn't take on LeBron, didn't be the guy, right? If Kevin Durant is thing one or thing two on this team, we're going to remember Kevin Durant as a great, always. Always. If Kevin Durant is banana number 4 on this team, if the reason why they're winning is Steph and Clay and Draymond more so than KD, then you're right. Then I will concede that to you. But I don't think that will be the case. And when we talk about Kevin Durant and his career 15 years from now, we're not going to be talking about a guy that ran from a more difficult team. Right? Like the difference between whether or not you praise somebody and clown somebody has everything to do, at least in America, at least in this country, has everything to do with their success. Right? Like a guy can be lucky. Tom Brady admits that he's lucky, that he's fortunate that he got the coach that he got, and he was backed up by the defense that he played with, and he played in the era that he played in. Right? So when you talk about Tom Brady being the greatest of all time, well, maybe. But here's a guy that is at least capable of acknowledging on some level that it wasn't just me, but he's won so much. We're going to give him the credit for everything. And that's essentially what's going to happen with Kevin Durant. Like we understand that the Warriors aren't done here, right? It's so crazy because we've gotten so caught up with the greatness of LeBron and what LeBron means for all of this. We haven't actually considered what happens if the Warriors just stomp their way through the rest of the NBA playoffs. Like what happens if the Warriors and the Cavs meet in the finals and the Warriors stomp out the Cavs? Well, now you just have a full-on dynasty. Because I don't know what answers you have for Cleveland. If you're Cleveland, almost all of the best three-point shooters in the league you would think would be on the Warriors, right? They're on the Cavs. Cleveland has some of the best three-point shooters in the entire league. We're talking J.R. Smith and Amon Shumpert. Granted, that their percentage is that high because that's all they do. Kyle Korver's on that team, by the way, too. Like, their percentage is high because that's all they do. But in terms of three-point shooting, Cleveland has designed their team to match Golden State, to fight Golden State. And if Golden State shows up and stomps the team designed to beat them, what does that say about the NBA moving forward? And the greatness of all of these guys? And how long can they keep it together? And where do you go after this? Does Kevin Durant stay in Golden State? Does he try and go back to Oklahoma City and try and bring the lessons that he learned back? Because I don't think that even works with Russ. Where do you go from here? Where do you go? Like, we have not considered the ramifications of any of this. People just want to clown Kevin Durant. Oh, okay. I guess. Like if that's what you're about, that's what you're about. I'm just saying to unintelligibly not think of what this means for the rest of basketball period is kind of insane. It's kind of insane. Like you do realize that that's kind of nuts. And then like on the other side of the equation, by the way, if LeBron James doesn't win another NBA Finals from now until the end of his career, he's still the greatest, right? Like you do realize like this stuff is not just attached to rings. This stuff is not just attached to championships. That guy is the greatest I've ever seen play this sport. He is. No one's been bigger. No one's been stronger. No one's been faster. No one's shot the ball better at that size. He gets better as time goes on, and he gets better, by the way, at things, because like I've heard the steroid argument. You go ahead and put that down. He's getting better at things that steroids can't help you with, okay? Steroids can't help you shoot more accurately. That's just practice. He was not, that was the one weakness that he had left. Steroids do not help you shoot more accurately. You know, it's incredible to me. Like LeBron actually has to win more championships to impress people, because people are going to look at Michael Jordan's 6 rings, and I'm more impressed that LeBron's been there 7 times. He's 14 years in the league, and it's not showing any signs of slowing, and it's not showing any signs of stopping anytime soon. It's just crazy to me. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240, 92.7 FM, and NoogaRadio.com. So the Seahawks say they have a legitimate interest in Colin Kaepernick. It makes a ton of sense for all parties involved. It makes a ton of sense if you're Colin Kaepernick, if any NFL team calls you to just say yes, to just agree to just go where they're going to give you a spot on the roster. It might even help him just to get out of the public eye a little bit so that people aren't just immediately offended by him showing up. But the guy is athletic. He plays too well. And if your backup for Russell Wilson is Colin Kaepernick, you really don't have to change all that much. You really don't. If your backup for Russell Wilson is Colin Kaepernick, you're doing pretty well, actually, which is why I'm surprised that this guy is not signed to a team yet. Because if your backup for anybody is Colin Kaepernick, that's a pretty decent backup. That's a solid backup. That's a guy that at least gives you a physical component with his legs that other guys can't give you when you look at the NFL game all over and you just have quarterbacks that just stink. At least Colin is not great, but gives you some kind of mobility. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240, 92.7 FM. Make sure to check us out on our website. That's NoogaRadio.com. We stream all of our shows on YouTube, some of them on Facebook. Make sure to check that out as well. We've got all the links on the website. Again, that's NoogaRadio.com. Remember, folks, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Stay clutch, and I'll see you in 24 hours.
Nooga Radio, AM 1240, 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga's best kept secret, Boyd Speedway. Come see the fastest dirt late model drivers in the South compete for a purse every Saturday night. Pit gates open at 3, grandstand opens at 5.